For 18 years, lust controlled my life. It started small, innocent even. But before I knew it, I was trapped. I prayed, I cried, I promised myself I'd stop. But I always fell back, again and again. Maybe you know the feeling, that cycle of guilt, shame, and failure. Feeling like you're drowning in your own thoughts, knowing what's right but doing the opposite, wanting to change, but feeling powerless. But let me tell you something, there is a way out, and I'm living proof. I still remember how it all started, just small, harmless thoughts, a glance at a woman passing by, a little curiosity. But over time, those little glances turned into deep desires. It got worse. Whenever I saw a woman in a short skirt or a tight dress, my mind would go places it shouldn't. My eyes would linger. I would start imagining things, visualizing their bodies without clothes. And the worst part, it felt automatic. Like I had no control over my own mind. I knew it was wrong, but I still did it. In public, in taxis, at work, at church even. I would sit next to a woman dressed a certain way, and suddenly my heart would race. My palms would get sweaty. My thoughts would spiral. It was like a battle happening inside me, but I kept losing. And then came the shame, the guilt that followed. I'd sit in church, lifting my hands in worship, but my mind would be somewhere else. I'd hear sermons about purity, about guarding your eyes, and I'd think, God, am I too far gone? I would repent. I would cry. I would say, this is the last time. But it never was. The cycle continued. Sunday after Sunday, I sat in church feeling like a fraud, praying for forgiveness, but knowing by Monday I'd be right back in the same place. Then one day, something changed. I hit rock bottom. I remember one particular night. I had just fallen into the same sin again. I stood in front of the mirror, looking at myself, and I hated what I saw. I asked myself, is this who I want to be for the rest of my life? Will I always be controlled by my own thoughts and desires? That night, I cried out to God, not just a quick guilty prayer, but a real raw cry for help. God, I can't do this alone. I've tried, I've failed, I need you. And for the first time, I realized that was the problem. I was trying to fight this alone. I needed a new strategy. So I did something different. I stopped making empty promises and started taking real, practical steps. The first thing I did was remove the triggers. I stopped watching certain movies, unfollowed certain social media accounts, blocked websites, and deleted anything that made lust convenient. If I was serious about this, I couldn't afford to keep the doors open. The second thing, accountability. I found a mentor, someone I could be real with, someone I could confess to whenever I felt weak. Let me tell you something, sin thrives in secrecy, but when you expose it, it loses power. Then I changed my environment. I started guarding my eyes. When I walked on the street and saw a woman dressed a certain way, I trained myself to look away immediately. If I was in a taxi and felt my mind wandering, I would start humming a worship song, focusing my thoughts on God. And most importantly, I filled my life with God. More prayer, more worship, more time in His Word. I started memorizing scriptures like Matthew 5:28. Anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. And every time the thoughts came, I fought back with the word. Slowly, things changed. The urges lost their power. The shame started to lift. And for the first time in 18 years, I felt free. Listen, I don't know where you are right now. Maybe you've tried everything. Maybe you think you'll never be free. Maybe, like me, you felt like a failure too many times. But I'm here to tell you, there is hope. If God can set me free after 18 years, He can do the same for you. It won't be easy, it won't happen overnight, but it will be worth it. Take action today. Start small, remove the things pulling you back, find someone to talk to, and most of all, seek God like never before. Because the truth is, you don't just overcome lust by saying no to it. You overcome lust by saying yes to something greater. And that greater thing is Jesus. You were not meant to be a slave to your desires. You were meant for freedom. So, if this spoke to you, if you're struggling, know that you are not alone. Drop a comment, share your story. And if you're ready to start your journey to freedom, let's do this together.